Everything you've learnt and can recall from single table queries works the same with multiple table queries. Now we're going to need to use multiple table queries when we need data from more than one table. So if we take our customer's multiple database and create a new query in design, this time we're now given a list of more than one table because we have more than one table. So if I choose the customers table and the countries table and then close the show table dialog box, both tables are added to the grid. And what you'll notice is the relationship is already added as well. I don't need to create the relationship again. Once you define a relationship in Access, it then exists when you then use those two tables in unison, as we are here in a query. So if I want the first name, last name, and the country name for each of my customers, I would need to use the country name field from this table here. So I just double click as normal, and you can see first name, last name from TBL customers, country name from TBL countries. And when I view, I simply see the text values I've associated. So I see the word Australia as many times as it exists, which I think is about 1800, but the actual text Australia only exists in the database once. Access is using the relationship between the country region name, which is a number, and the country ID, which is a number, to match the numbers and then return the country name that matches the number stored in here. So I don't need to see these linking ID numbers. As a human being, I'm only interested in the text content. These customers live in which country? I can then use the criteria either as a human, so Australia, or as an IT bod. I could go into country ID and put a criteria in. So let's see if Australia pulls any back. It does. 3,500 in fact, so quite a few. Or I could actually put a 7 in the country ID and not the Australia there. Potentially not actually wanting to see the country ID, so removing the view option and view, and I still see the Australian customers that I have. So that's a multiple table query. We can save that. QRY Australian customers. Now if I want to create a new query but on a different set of tables, so it's query design, let's use the customers and the sales, and we'll have the first name and the last name of the customer and the sales date and the sales value. Now when I view the result here, I see first name, last name, sales date and sales value, but there are only 64 records. The reason for that is that there are only 64 sales in the sales table. I don't see the people who haven't made a sale. The join by default shows the data where the two tables overlap. So I see all the sales, but I only have the primary keys in here for people who've made a sale. So when it pulls the customer information in, it only shows me those records. Now you can change that relationship by double clicking this join in line here. You can see here the join type is 1. Only include rows where the join fields from both tables are equal. That's the default. So if you think of the data as being two big circles, it's only where those circles overlap that you see. Now you can change this. You could change it to 2, which is to include all the customers, so all the records from the customers table, and only those sales where the joint tables are equal. So if I say OK, and then view, I see all the customers, even the ones that haven't made sales, just that they have null in their sales date and sales value. Ebony Gonzalez has made 3. So has Ashley Anderson. So that's changing the default join type. Now when you look at the query, you can see there's a pointy arrow at this end that wasn't there before. And that sort of gives the game away that you've changed the join type. Double click in there, all the records from the customers table. Sometimes you would want to do that, so you can see customers who haven't made a sale. Therefore, they are the ones where the sales value is null. There is a third option, but you won't need to use this too much, which is to include all the sales records, so all the records from TBL sales, and those from the customers where the joint fields are equal. Well, the first option includes all the records from the TBL sales because all the sales records have a customer ID. Because of referential integrity being enforced, option 3 does not give you any more data than option 1. If, however, you didn't have referential integrity enforced, then you might want to try 3 out to see if there are any sales that don't have a customer. So effectively, they have a null value in the customer field. But our data is enforced, therefore 3 would not produce any more records. So it's 1 to give you everything where they join, and 2 to give you everything from the parent table that doesn't have a related record in the subtable. So in our case, I'm going to go back to 1, view, and then save this as QRY, customers, sales data. OK. Then I'm going to change the join type to 2, say OK, and put a null in the sales date. That way you'll see we only see the customers who haven't made a sale. That way I can then save this as QRY, non-buying customers. OK. And those 2 queries are then saved for me to rerun as I feel fit, because just like the single table queries, they go and extract the latest data from the tables every time you open them.